First of all, let me thank every one of you for showing such great interest towards this resume building workshop session. And Bhargav sir, especially thanks to you for accepting our invitation. And despite of your busy schedule, it means a lot to us, sir. Guys, first I assure you that I assure you everyone, but by this end of the session that you'll learn something great. That's what I want to say. And uh, please, everyone, please participate in this session and also ask your friends to participate if everyone hasn't joined it. And ask if you have any doubts, just ask them and speak your mind out. And do not hesitate to ask the questions and don't afraid. And if you can also post your questions in the chat box, okay? And before I handle this session to the Bhargav sir, let me introduce him to you. And Bhargav sir, he's a former student of our GMR Institute of Technology who completed his graduation in computer science and engineering from the year 2015 to 2019. He's also a student coordinator of CSS student chapter and a sponsorship coordinator, hackathon coordinator of StepCon GMRIT 2018. And some of his skills are data analysis, data science, SQL, machine learning, supply chain optimization, big data, data visualization, Python, pandas, data analytics, SAS programming, public speaking, and so on. And he's he's a data, he's also a student coordinator. And do not hesitate to ask the questions and don't afraid. And if you can also post your questions in the chat box, okay? And before I handle this session to the Bhargav sir, let me introduce him to you. And Bhargav sir, he's a former student of our GMR Institute of Technology who completed his graduation in computer science and engineering from the year 2015 to 2019. He's also a student coordinator of CSS student chapter and a sponsorship coordinator, hackathon coordinator of StepCon GMRIT 2018. And some of his skills are data analysis, data science, SQL, machine learning, supply chain optimization, big data, data visualization, Python, pandas, data analytics, SAS programming, public speaking, and so on. And he's he's a data analyst with 2 years of experience in retail, supply chain, and healthcare. And he also has high exposure towards the data warehousing, building pipelines, and business need analysis. He's an expert in understanding customer requirements and translate and delivery high quality products with a very low turnaround time. And he's presently working as a data scientist at MU Sigma in the Bangalore. Now I request our speaker, Bhargav sir, to take out this session.
Yeah, hi. So am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes. How do I pronounce your name?
Ragni, sir.
Ragni, yeah. That's a nice intro. I mean, even I usually do not remember that I've done so much. Probably would have looked it up in my LinkedIn. So, yeah, thank you. Thanks for gathering the information and giving such a beautiful introduction about me. Hi, everyone. My name is Bhargav. And like she already introduced, I'm a decision scientist at Mu Sigma. So, yeah, I was a student of GMR Institute of Technology from the year 2015 and 19. And yeah, I also was a coordinator of CSI. And yeah, I love to speak with people. I love to understand their perspectives and maybe try to guide them towards what could be a better path for them, right? So yeah, what I also do in my free time is talk to a few people who are usually my juniors or my parents, and then also try to understand what is that the industry going to look like in the near future, and maybe give some perspective of mine to them, so as to make them realize how they could shape up their future, right? So that's a short intro about me, which I would like to tell about myself. And yeah, just before starting the session, right, I would just like to set up the context of this. What do you expect out of this, and how can you actually use this particular session, right? So it was shared that this is gonna be a resume building workshop. And by workshop, what usually you mean is you do hands-on, right? So you'll have to build something on your own and then maybe get it reviewed by me, right? So, but for the time constraints, it's not actually a workshop, but it's a knowledge sharing session. I am not a HR who could actually give you a lot more insights into how the hiring process would look like. But what I would try to do is to tell my understanding of how do you actually understand this hiring process and where does a resume stand, right, in the process of hiring, uh, which I hope would be a little helpful for you. So yeah, uh, so this is how the meeting is gonna be structured. First, I'm gonna share a PPT and give you some basic idea of what a resume is. Why do you have to have a proper resume? What are some guidelines to actually have a proper resume? This is not what I this is what I follow. This is what I looked up in internet, right? So you what I also would like to show you is what are some websites or tools that you can use to actually build a proper data set. And sorry, it's not data set, I'm sorry, proper resume, right? So yeah, so without any further ado, I would like to share my screen. uh, what could actually be helpful is if a few of you could be interacting with me, and in the later point of time, around like 20 or 25 30 minutes later, we would have an interactive session where I could take up your questions and answer them to my whatever knowledge I have regarding this, right? So I'm just sharing my screen. Let me know if it is visible. Yeah, is it visible, guys? Hello.
No, sir, it's not visible.
Okay. Uh, just a second. I've joined from a web browser, so maybe that's the reason why it's so laggy. Just give me a minute. Is it visible now?
The screen is not sharing, but your logo is coming.
Oh, just give me a minute. Is it visible now?
Now,
No, sir.
Yes.
No, sir, it's not visible, sir.
No shit. Just give me a minute. I think I might have to join from Teams UI. Sorry for the delay, guys. Just give me a moment. Hello.
yes, sir.
Can you add me as an organizer? I've joined from the UI.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Done.
Is it visible now? I hope it is.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, sorry for the delay, guys. So yeah, let me start off with a few basic questions. What a resume is and why do you need to have a resume? Right? I mean, there are some hundreds and thousands of versions of a resume. There are a lot of customized resumes that people build, right? People maintain websites on their name, so as to represent what they actually do, so as to communicate things better, right? So people maintain their Git repository as their resume. So yeah, there are hundreds of formats, and yeah, why do you actually need a resume, right? So these are some basic questions that you need to understand first. So this for those who don't know, a resume is a medium of introduction to a person who is unknown to you, who might not probably have some time to talk with you, but it's a paper or a digital version of a paper that actually says this is the person who you are reading about, right? And then resume is not to get a job. It's more to land an interview, to get a call with the resume. I mean the reviewer or the hiring official of the company, right? Resume do not intend to get you a job. It all depends upon how you showcase your skills in coding, and maybe if you are applying for any other job, how do you display your all-round skills in the interview processes that they perform, that they put. And yeah, that's how that's where the resume has its limitations. Okay. And then it's to make an impression to the recruiter or the hiring official in like first 20-30 seconds, right? So when you look at the resume, if it is proper, which I'm gonna tell how a proper resume would look like. So if it is proper, maybe you just get a call directly asking, yeah, your profile is very interesting for us. So you might be a potential candidate for us, and we are gonna give you a call back with the interview rounds, right? So that's why do you as a fresher or as a working professional would need a resume for, right? And yeah, resume is a lifelong thing, right? Whatever skills you develop, whatever projects you work on, whatever roles you play in your company or in your project, right? It's a lifelong thing. If you wanna apply for a CEO post, also maybe most probably they're gonna ask you a short introduction of you, which might also be a resume, right? So it's a lifelong thing. It has to be updated every now and then, and it has to be well written, which actually depicts what kind of a personality you are and what are the skill sets that you have, right? So yeah, what is a resume? It's basically the informational document about your career line. Maybe if you are not having a career yet, not started your career yet, maybe it's a kind of uh, introductory statement of whatever traits you have, right? It should be in an easily readable format for making things easy for the other person who's sitting on the other side of the bench, right? And then the resume is obviously, like, it's a detailing of your technical things. If you wanna give out your intentions of applying to that particular role, you would most probably need to write a cover letter attached with the resume. So that's there. So this is basically your outlining of your technical skills, the capabilities that you have, the achievements and the work experience you have, right? So why do you need a proper resume? And what do I mean by proper? Right. So a lot of times when you're applying offline, right? Maybe through a website or through any social media like Naukri or LinkedIn, right? Any job platform, job search platforms, right? So what usually happens is there is a particular scanner in place which is called as ATS, applicant tracking system. This usually runs on NLP, which extracts the content of your resume and tries to give the recruiter a perspective of who could be the potential candidate for the role, right? So 99% of Fortune 500 companies, which makes it around 9498 companies maybe, right, use ATS as their first level screening process. And almost 90% of all mid-sized companies in India and across the globe use this ATS system. So what does an ATS do, and why is it a little problematic for us to have ATS in between, right? So ATS is basically, like I said, it's an application which is used by the hiring official to screen your resume. It's a ranking process. It shows in what is the percentage match of a person or a profile to what job description they've launched, right? So that's how it is. And I'll also discuss about what websites you need to refer to maybe get passed through the ATS system. Okay. And yeah, almost 70% of the resumes do not pass through ATS system. So what does this mean, right? So so for suppose if you take I mean every job would actually attract 250 resumes on an average. And if you do the math, it's basically only 75 resumes that get through, right? Which is 30% of 250. So only 75 resumes get through to the hiring official. right? And on an average, this is a study done by Zeti, a company which actually facilitates the hiring processes. So uh, yeah, on an average, a recruiter looks at your resume for 6 seconds. Maybe it can be like 20-30 seconds more. But for you to make an impression, its first 10 seconds are really crucial. So how does your resume look is really important, right? So and then only 5 to 7% of applicants land a face-to-face interview. So yeah, like I said, there are different ways of hiring. There are hiring processes where there is an online test before, okay, online test, and then you're asked to clear all that. So usually throughout the hiring process, only 5 to 7% of the applicants are able to set up a call or a face-to-face interview with the hiring person, right? So maybe if you again do the math, 5% of 75 would bring it to, okay, let's take it as 10%. So it would be 7 to 8 members would finally get into the final interview phase, right? So like you must also be understanding it through your placement statistics. How many people do apply for the placement? How many? Usually people do not give out what how many people are they looking to hire, but when you apply it offline, the role is clear. The number of applicants will be clear, like on LinkedIn and all, and you can test out your chances of getting hired. So that's the reason why there should be a good resume to be able to at least make an impression in the first go, which can also pass through the ATS. All right. Any questions here? Cool. If you do have any questions, please type it in the chat box. I'll take it probably in the end. Cool. So yeah, tips to basically make a resume, right? So what are some kind of basic? So you must be hearing from everybody. Maybe your recruitment campus recruitment cell would be actually telling you, right? So this is how your resume would look like, should look like, right? So it's not necessarily that one format should be followed, right? You can there are questions like, do you put the photo or do you not? Do you can you disclose your personal details like phone number to the recruiter, right? So there are multiple formats to it, but what usually is suitable for you, what are your pros and cons for doing it, depends on yourself, right? So these tips are a little generic, right? So how does a good resume needs to be built, right? So start early. So given the fact that there are some first years, second years, and third years also in this particular meeting, what I would suggest everybody of you is to start wherever you are. Okay. So at times, what actually happens to students is they do not realize what kind of a skill set do they have early in their engineering, right? So what like I said, what usually happens is we do not assess ourselves, and resume is a great way to assess what kind of projects have we done already, what are the areas of expertise that we have. Maybe some person would be very good in talking, right? Maybe presenting, right? Maybe leading the team, maybe planning the process, or things like that. So you need to identify where you are strong at, what is your role in a particular project is going to look like, okay, what are your interest areas, right? So what have you explored already? So resume is actually a self introspective document that I would say, which actually allows you to have that perspective of, yes, where am I and what do I do next, right? So if you are able to build a resume in second year itself with probably no achievements, and see it every 3 months and try to modify it. So if you set this up as a process for yourself, maybe the trigger that you do not have any achievements yet drives you forward to do those achievements, do those projects and all, right? So what I suggest anybody is who do not have a resume yet is to start early. Think about what skills do you have, right? Think about what projects you are interested in, right? And maybe try to improve upon your resume every month or every 3 months. So it's like I said, it's a continuous document that you maintain for your entire life, maybe a personal journal of sorts, where you have a lot of things, and when you want to apply for some kind of a job, you can just customize it, just copy a few things which are relevant to that job role and paste it over in a small PDF and send it to them, right? So your personal resume can be of any number of pages. If you have done some like 70 to 80 projects already, maybe in like 4 or 5 years of time span, you have already done some 50 projects, 10 per an year, maybe one per month, right? So you're already at a very high level that you have so many things to put. You can prioritize what is the requirement that I have at hand for applying, and then you can customize it. If you are applying for a data scientist role, you can customize the data science related projects, right? If you are applying for a web development role, you can customize it that way. So what I also would like to tell you guys is maybe uh, you can explore one kind of tech per year, right? Maybe in the first year you can explore Android app development. In the second year you can explore the web development. In the third year you can explore some kind of things like blockchain, IoT, and data science, right? So you already know what kind of things are out there, and you can always understand, yes, this is what interests me. So that's important. Okay, so like I said, when you have such a huge number of things that you can put, it always is easy. I mean, it's hard to take decision to what needs to be put in the resume, but it's always kind of easy for you to just go through and put something over there, right? So you need to, what I suggest you is to customize your resume as per the job requirement and ensure that all details are correct, right? What do I mean by customizing it for every job, right? So maybe if you are applying for a software engineer job, which requires and the job description says you would require to learn Java, right? You cannot put data science projects in your I mean, maybe as a fresher you can, but going down the line in your career, you cannot put a data science project in there and say I wanna be a software developer in Java, or things like that. If you are applying for a DB architect or a DB administrator, database administrator, right? So you cannot put maybe Python or data science tools over there and ask for a DB administrator. What actually would require is your skills and your projects that you have done in SQL, Oracle, where and all you were able to integrate backend with those databases, right? That's what the resume should show out, and that's what a recruiter would like to look at, right? And then think about what makes you different, right? I mean, like I said, it's an ongoing process that you have to follow maybe every month and see where you are standing with respect to what talents or what traits you have, right? Maybe someday you are gonna enjoy doing you are gonna be a marketing head of a big team in a MNC, right? But having said that, you need to be understanding what kind of a career you are going to plan ahead and what are your interests to be able to go there, right? If you don't know your interests yet, start exploring. Like I said, take up projects related to each technology in 1 year. I mean, maybe 6 months. Then try to explore different things over there. Try to build a project around it, which actually has some consumption to it, right? And yeah, that's how you can think of what makes you different, right? And other key thing which every fresher misses out on is what is the quantifiable thing in the resume, right? So what do I mean by a quantifiable thing? So you have developed a project, okay? Maybe let's just say you have developed a student attendance system, okay, which actually automates kind of manual attendance that your lecturers take in the class. Maybe you have used some advanced machine learning algorithms, maybe neural networks, to actually recognize the face and mark the attendance, right? So it's basically a web tool, let us say, right? Which functions in this way. So maybe what can you put as a quantifiable thing over here? So you can put the number of hours saved per week for your lecturer, right? Maybe it's just a 10 minutes time, but in 50 minutes for your faculty to be able to deliver everything end to end, I mean, to be able to say a lot maybe if 10 minutes are getting wasted on a day, right, it's automating that, right? So for per month, you are actually saving some uh, maybe 20 hours for everybody, for your CR, maybe for your faculty, right? And across the department, how much of man hours would this be? Across the college, how many man hours would this be? So these are some kind of quantifiable things that you can think of and maybe present it, right? It usually need not be in the number of hours saved. I mean, every technology is either built to save hours or is built to save time, save money, right? Or is built to save the effort. So you can try to quantify these things and put them over. Uh, Maybe the number of users you could generate, if it's an external application like Android application, you can quantify the number of downloads that you could get, right? How many users were interacting on a daily basis, right? So these are all some kind of quantifiable things that you can think around your project. If you have not thought of this yet, I suggest you to think about your projects or ongoing projects or upcoming projects in this perspective. What kind of a quantifiable impact can I generate? And then go about doing it, which actually puts a lot of strength to your resume and the projects that you do, right? These are some kind of silly mistakes that people do, avoiding spelling mistakes and grammatical mistakes. What should be capitalized and what should not? Where should a the be used and where shouldn't be, right? So these are all small kind of petty mistakes that people make while building their resume, and which actually sends out a clear message that maybe you're not prepared enough, or maybe you're not serious enough to at least be able to clear spelling mistakes and grammatical mistakes. So there are recruiters who look at the resume from this perspective as well, right? And then watch your tenses and consistency. If you have maintained one kind of a tense that yes, I was okay, I have led, or I was doing this, right? Maybe try to put everything in that tense itself, right? What people usually do suggest is projects all should be in your past perfect, and your career objective should be in simple present, right? So then, yeah, keep it organized, easy to read, and visually appealing. There shouldn't be too much of spaces around what this PPT looks like, right? It's all white, where you have one or two words per line, right? It shouldn't be that open, or it shouldn't be very closed also. I mean, you shouldn't have sentences upon sentences dumped, which actually makes it look clumsy, right? You should find the balance between how do you make it more uh, I mean orative, or more speaking, and how do you make it more visually attractive, right? So that's one thing. Try to keep it as a fresher. I would suggest, if you are building a resume outside your college placements, I would ask you to put it to one pager, which would include all the relevant details which can showcase your strengths. If the person wants to know what languages you speak, obviously he or she is gonna call you and ask you on an interview call, what languages are you speak, where are you willing to relocate and all, right? So these things can be communicated at a later point of time, need not be shown at up straight front. So what you can do is concentrate on solidified stuff, like what are your projects that you have done, what are your traits that you have, what are some extracurricular activities that you have participated, what are your achievements that you have done in your college. So things like that. So just try to keep it one pager. Even if it's two pager, it's still fine, but make sure that if you are trying to put it for 2 pages, make sure that it's actually filled up to in 2 pages. Maintain a little more spacing between lines and make it at least filled for 2 pages, so that the interviewer does not feel that it's half written in the second page, right? So, and then label your resume correctly, your first name, last name, underscore resume, right? uh, Underscore resume is something people do. If not, first name, last name, underscore your job that you're applying for. Maybe if you're applying for a data scientist, if I'm applying for a data scientist, maybe it's gonna look like Bhargav Varanasi and data scientist.pdf, right? And also you can include the number of years of experience. There are, like I said, there are multiple formats for saving the files. You can share a PDF or you can share a Word document. It's up to your choice, but PDF is the most go-to version because content cannot be edited in PDF, right? So yeah, any questions still here? That's nice. Either I'm uh, telling it so clearly, or maybe you're not listening so clearly. So yeah, let's take up questions later like that. So yeah, what content should there be, right? Career objective is something a fresher should put. Okay, I mean not should, but I would like to read a career objective from a fresher and a career summary from an experienced person, right? So a career objective, what should a career objective look like, right? What position in the company you are applying to? What are your strong traits? What are your key skills? And then what are your employee, what does your employee get out of you, right? So try to frame it in this format for every company you're applying, right? This makes it easy for the ATS to understand what job role are you applying, what are the key skills that you have which are given in the job description, what are some strong traits that you have, right? What is the strong message that you are trying to communicate to the employer, right? This firstly helps you get through ATS, and secondly, even if a reviewer or a recruiter is reading your resume, this shows that you are well prepared enough, that your skills are aligned with your job description, your traits are aligned with the position that you're applying, and the company, you know what company this is and what is the requirement that is there for this position name, right? And then what should the employer expect out of you, right? So that's something is more preferable to keep. Then comes the technical skills, which is kind of more important for a CS student or any IT student, right? uh, so yeah, you can put programming languages, the databases that you've worked on, the operating systems that you've worked on, the web or mobile applications that you've already worked on, right? So these are some 4 key areas that you can put, right? Not only, so these particular skills need to be in alignment with your project. Okay, at times what actually happens is people do a course and try to put yes, or maybe hear it out of a video and try to put yes, this is how I know, I already know NLP. Okay, let's just say you have gone through a course of NLP and you feel that you know NLP and you've put it over there, right? But what is the solidified proof that you already know NLP, right? Implement a small project. Okay, so like I was telling, these technical skills are better off if you can align them with your projects, right? And then strengths, uh, maybe, yeah, strengths are multiple, right? You can be adaptive, you can be over communicative, you can be a leader in your project, right? You can be able to plan things better out, right? You can be able to code. Coding is one of the key strengths that people will look for. uh, if not coding, I mean, I hate to say coding is important. It's not coding that is important, but knowing the logic how to code, that's what is important. Maybe the languages could change in next 10 years, but your relevance of how good are you with the logic is what can win, can take you to great miles, right? So academic qualifications. So uh, like I was already telling, maybe these things are not better off if you have not have had any achievements like some top 1,000 rank and say uh, some scholarship in your 10th or something like these, because people anyway will hire you if they want to. They do not see what kind of, I mean, you can just put up the numbers, but it's good if you can also showcase some things like these, like scholarship and all, right? then comes the most important part, the academic projects, internships, hobby projects, survey or research papers, right? Always have a perspective of what job role would you like to apply for, right? I mean, at times it's mostly a lottery that happens when you're coming out of the college. You are asked to apply for every company that comes, and yeah, whatever company you get selected in, and whatever role they offer you, it's your job to do it for like 1-2 years, right? But how do you make yourself comfortable in the job, right? How do you make yourself easy that yes, this is what the job I want, and this is what I'm gonna apply for, maybe offline, right? So that's a little important, if you don't want to hit the lottery system, right? And then you have your achievements. Like I said, achievements can be anything. There are questions around what can I put as achievements. If I've won some kind of a certificate in a small uh, contest that's been put in my college, right? Inter college competition or something, right? Intra college competition maybe. If how good is to put that, right? So anything that is put up on your resume makes the resumer think, okay, makes the resumer have a conversation with you about that, okay. You can be playing cricket, okay, and you can be proud of it as well. You can lead the maybe computer science team or your class team, right? So this is one kind of a trait, right? You're very good at cricket. I mean, if by chance the interviewer is also very good at cricket, maybe you can have a conversation on how leadership skills you present, right? What kind of frustrated times you have had in playing cricket, or things like that. So there, it all depends upon what is your skill that you can showcase, right? What can you show to the recruiter that you want him to engage a conversation with you, right? So yeah, something as big as coding competition does not matter if you are not applying for a software job, right? If you are applying for a marketing job or a sales job, in which you are originally interested and passionate in, right? First, in some state level coding competition does not matter over there. So, like I'm telling, it all maybe depends upon the perspective in which you want the interviewer think of you, right? And the extracurricular activities, maybe if you have conducted a few events, like what coordinators do, maybe if you have participated in a few, right? What are some kind of things that you do outside your curriculum, or also maybe if you want the recruiter to have a conversation about them, you can always put them. Like I said, hobbies and personal details. So yeah, so that's simply everything that I wanted to tell through a presentation. Like I said, I think I just talked at half an hour, right? And yeah, let's just see some kind of tools that can actually help you. Maybe so. This is a free tool, resumatch.io, which I happened to come by yesterday, right? You can just paste your content in your resume over here, just Control V, and or you can upload the resume, and then maybe the job title, the industry that you're applying for, and the job description, right? And if you just hit a click to scan for free, right? It gives you a very good perspective of what things are actually missing out, and what are some things that you need to include, right? So yeah, this is a free tool. I think I've already tried it out on my resume, right? You just need to log in, nothing else, which you can do through Gmail. uh, and then there is this particular website which is kind of premium, right? You have all options like
Excuse me, sir.
yeah, yes.
This is still PPT only visible to us.
Oh, sorry, I think I shared that window only. Just give me a minute. Yep, is my screen visible?
No, sir. Just avatar is coming.
Yes, sir, it's with.
Is it visible, guys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir, it
sir.
is possible.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, this is one thing that I've tried on, right? A resume scanner where you just need to drop your paste your content or upload your CSV, the job description, title, and the industry. Just click or run for a free sample scan, right? So this is the sample that it took. Accounting manager is the one, right? Sample. Okay, this is the job description. If I just wanna see what are the results gonna look like, right? Right. So yeah, 51% out of 100, right? It's a pretty good resume, it seems, but still needs to make some improvements. It'll show you what ATS best practices, what's your score, what are your hard skills and their match, what are your soft skills required and the match, sales index and the match, right? And it also shows you what things you have missed out on, right? Your LinkedIn profile is missing. These all education match, everything else is matching, right? Advertising is one keyword that they were looking for. uh, Job description asks for four and you just put one, right? And then the product, it just does not speak about products, it just does not speak about these hard skill match. Excel is there, right? And then the soft skills, proactive is not there. Impact 2 has been given, but only one was actually asked as per the job description, right? So there are show me more keywords, right? The sales index, creation buzzwords, right? You can just understand where does your resume stand out of 100 with this particular tool, okay? And you also have this tool, which actually has the about ATS, I mean applicant tracking system, 8 things you need to know, uh, all kind of things, your resume builder, optimizer. You can also take scores of it. I think you can optimize your LinkedIn through this, right? So yeah, if I just click a tutorial of this, I mean, I'm not promoting this product, but yeah, this is something that can be used, right? So anyways, so that those are the two websites that I've stumbled upon yesterday, and I thought would be of some use for you guys, right? And yes, so this particular one is some basic 20 resume tips that Forbes.com has given out. And yeah, this is something I wanted to discuss in detail. So yeah, so recruiters don't read your resume, they just skim it through. Like I said, it's just 20 seconds or at max 30 seconds that you have to make an impression. So how do you make it possible for making it strong enough, right? You need to have this, you need to follow a framework to write an effective resume bullet points, right? So just some examples of how do you actually write it, right? So this is an action verb, right? This is the task or the project, and the quantifiable thing, the metric in which you are able to show it out, right? So this is how you can write all your achievements or all your project descriptions. This pattern you can always follow. There are some strong words that need to don't use filters like various and multiple, okay? Implemented 10 plus features, okay? I mean, various features does not tell how many, right? Quantify it as much as possible, okay? And then use managed, not managing, right? So this is what I managed, okay? uh, Responsible is something, assisted, helped are weak verbs that usually do not give the sense of strongness out. So yeah, you can just I'll share these things, the links with you. You can just go through them once, maybe understand how does a resume look like, right? so these are some kind of examples that they have given. So you can always search on web whatever you want. You can always try to find it on web, and then this is done. Some kind of accomplishments. How do you write your accomplishments, right? So this is how exactly how much of money did you save, or exactly how much of quickly you could exact time period of it. What are the goals that you have often met, right? So there are some examples as well, which are in terms of a little experienced folk maintains a 97% satisfaction rating over 24 period of time for customer care representative, right? You can always go ahead and customize it for your student project, right? You can get people to use it, maybe have a feedback form which asks them to rate the satisfaction of using the tool, right? You can ask your faculty to use it, you can ask your friends to use it, and maybe if you have a good amount of people who have used it, maybe 50, uh, on 50 people who used this tool, the satisfaction rate is around 90, right? So you can always try to quantify these things out, right? So things like that. uh, and then LinkedIn profile writing guide. So yeah, this is something I tell everybody. LinkedIn is a great platform to be able to stay relevant to the market, to be able to showcase what you are doing and what you currently are trying to go for, right? So yeah, it's always good to have a LinkedIn account which is most optimized, right? Always maintain a profile picture on your LinkedIn. People at times feel that it's a fake account if there is no profile picture, right? So yeah, things like that. So uh, another way of landing an interview is networking. I keep telling it in every person that I talk to, that they need to engage with their network. Yes, I know you have friends who are in college now, but maybe try to engage with alumni of your college like me, who can actually, maybe if they have time, they can help you out in a few things, maybe guide you for a project, or uh, show you a way how you can approach a startup to for a job opening, right? So these things are always helpful to have, and also after you come out, try to engage with your juniors in the same way that I am trying to do, so as to uh, pass on the relevance of industry, right? At times what people usually think is, yes, whatever I have is self-sufficient for getting a job, but then in fourth year, what they realize is they do not even have projects to put in their resume, or they do not even have never read a literature survey uh, of any hot tech, be it IoT, be it Android, be it machine learning, be it blockchain. So they haven't had their relevance towards it to showcase in their resume, right? And then they start feeling bad that no, my resume still seems blank, right? So what I suggest all second years and third years to do is to start thinking, right? Start developing a habit of reviewing your own resume every 1 month or 3 months. What I also suggest is try to get a person who can mentor you, right? Maybe try to engage a conversation with him every 3 weeks or 1 month, so as to be able to show him and take guidance from him or her what is the path that you need to follow. So this is what puts a premium institute differently from what a normal third tier college is, right? So you can this all depends upon the student mindset that they have, right? So these are all things you can always do. And if you try to reach out to a person over WhatsApp, by taking their number, or on LinkedIn, the worst answer you could get is, I do not have time. That's it. I mean, they do not scold you. They do not. I mean, they might feel a little bad that you're. I mean, not bad, but you're trying to bug them or something. But do not make them feel like you're bugging them. But try to ask for genuine help. Do your part of the work genuinely. Try to come up with a resume with all these things, and then maybe mail it to me and ask, sir, do you feel, or maybe Bhargav, do you feel this resume is good enough for applying for this role? Or do you have any feedback or suggestions, right? So if you have put your wholehearted effort towards it, people on the other side also feel like, yes, this person has put good effort, maybe I should also help him out, right? So that feeling is always created on the other side. So this is how to beat the ATS. What ATS looks for, right? Yeah, everything that you need to know about ATS is already available on net, right? The readability of it, maintain standard templates, okay, just like this, okay. Do not put fancy templates like this. It's okay to put your photo, but do not go for a two. I mean, do not go for a resume which separates one single page into two vertical pages, right? I mean, most of the ATS do not understand, right? Then how do you actually write these things? Use a PDF format always, it seems. Okay, don't get too creative with fonts and images, right? Standard way of naming the title should be experience, work experience, project leadership experience, activities. You should not be putting things like this. Okay, so yeah, things like that. So always you can go and check your resume anywhere. You have some hundreds of websites to be able to help you uh, find the right content, right? So yeah, that's it from my end, guys. I think I've spoke enough, maybe for like 45 minutes. So yeah, what's the time? It's already 4. I think we have started it a little late, so I can stay up for another half an hour to engage conversations with you guys, to be able to help you maybe. So yeah. I'm just waiting. Who's gonna break the silence?
Yes, sir. My doubt is that
Who's this?
so
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm Abhishek, sir. Yeah. So let us say I'm gonna apply to a job in a software industry, but I've done internships in business-oriented fields like. So let us consider that I'm gonna apply to a job in software industry, but I've done internships in business-oriented fields such as growth equity or strategy.
Oh.
Adding those internships would not be a great advantage for software role, but it does show you've got some experience working with people.
Yes.
So what's your perspective on it? Like, shall we add it, or is there any other thing we can do?
That's a great question. So this is how I would like to answer it. Okay, and I'm sure everybody has their own perspective towards answering this question. What I would suggest is maybe try to find out what are some kind of software tools that they've used. Okay, if they're openly available tools, maybe you can demonstrate your experience in using those tools while doing the internship, right? So I mean, it's not only the coding that you do in a software industry. That's a bad perspective what colleges or students these days have. I mean, I myself, I'm a data analyst. I write code maybe for 1 week in a month. The rest of the time is all gone in client presentations, your reviews for that, right? For you to be able to make improvements upon a tool that you have built, make do the testing on that tool. So there are multiple things that are involved, and also it depends upon the company you go for and the job role you take up. But yeah, the communication is a key factor. So it's always good to have an internship like this and put it on your resume. But if it is too business intensive, maybe just tone it down a little, and try to put a perspective to it, so as to make the recruiter a little more comfortable in understanding it, right? I'm pretty amazed that you've done a internship, which is some kind of an equity thing, right? What's the role again of the internship?
Yeah, it's growth, equity, and strategies.
Growth, equity, and strategies. Yes, that's a good internship to do, and I'm sure people are gonna require diverse perspectives in a single project, like especially when you go for innovative companies like FANG companies or any top rated companies would look for diversity of the people. So yeah, you can always include it, but if you can get in a flavor of software uh, tools to it, or some kind of software thing that was involved in this, maybe that could help you a lot more better.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir,
Yeah.
previously you've been saying that by seeing videos on subjects, we got a pretty good idea on the subject, right? So without any certification, also we could add that into our resume.
That's a good question. So yeah, without any certification, also you can add it to your resume. Like I always been telling throughout the session, whatever you put on your resume is what you want to engage a conversation about, right? So if you have read about operating systems, which I'm sure every CS and IT student would do, and if you know it very well, and if you want to engage a conversation about the topics of operating system, maybe if it is not really required for the job role, you can still showcase your things over that, right? So yeah, it's always good to have confidence about things and try to put them over. Like I said, you can always talk about your hobbies as well if you are thinking that that can show out your personality, right? It shows your command, or it shows your friendliness, right? If you are volunteering for some kind of activities, you can always put them so as to show that you are compassionate, right? So yeah, you can put it, if even though if you do not have a certification, but also be aware that this is gonna trigger a conversation with the recruiter about the things that you've put. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
It's okay. Any further questions? Come on, guys.
Sir, I'm Venugopal, sir. I have one doubt.
Yes.
Sir, let us say if we have worked as an intern in some company and we have worked on multiple projects, not only a single project. So, in our resume, we need to present the role and as well as some description about on what we have worked and like that, right?
Yes.
So, what are the key points which we need to mention in our resume that so that it will be a little short and we can put more content in it? Means, we can tell more about our projects rather than mentioning about only one project.
So
How
see,
we can summarize it?
yeah, that's a good question. Thank you for asking. So yeah, this is how I would like to see a project description. Okay, the tech stack that you have used, so as to make sure that you have, so as to say in the first look what kind of relevance do you have to the current market. If you have used Python and all, Java is good. It's good to have those, right? Right, having hands-on on that is a little rare for building an application. So yeah, I would like to see the tech stack you've used, right, in one line, and then what was the requirement that you have solved, right? Maybe a one-liner saying that yeah, this is the requirement in precise, and this is the approach that we have followed, right? That's the second point anyone would like to see. The third, maybe if you are able to gauge the consumption of it, right? So any software tool is, like I said, any tech application is to either save money or save time, right? So if you are able to gauge how much of impact or how much of consumption you could create out of this tool by quantifying it, or I think that's brilliant. So these 3 points are something I would like to see personally in a resume, and I think I'm sure every recruiter wants to see that. These are the bare minimum things that would actually help, right, in the first glance to understand what kind of expertise you have.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
So like I said, I'm not a hiring manager to be able to say this is how the thing should be. Neither I'm a college training faculty who interact with a lot of companies and stuff, right? But at least this is what I've been looking for like years now, right? I remember I first done my resume in 3.1, and ever since then I've been trying to improve it in the ways I would like to see myself in future, right? I'm trying to equip the skills that I am lacking, and then maybe try to do a little more extensive research on how the other people are writing their resumes, try to read it online. So that's my experience or my perspective of doing things and telling people, right? So like I said, there are hundreds of resume formats that are there out, right? There are hundreds of ATS systems that are there. There are some lakhs maybe of recruiters that recruit. So everybody has their own perspective of looking at things. So yeah, but this is, I think, the most optimized way of following, so as to keep a personal journal for yourself of everything that you do, every professional thing that you showcase that you were doing for past few years, and maybe also to showcase your recruiter. Any further questions? So yeah, there are some questions like what font should it be, what uh, should I put the name, full name or not? So this is a kind of different sort of a question. Like I said, everybody has their own way to answer it. I would say any font you put, if your resume is worth it, worth the resume to be looked for, I think you'll get hired. Right? Any font you put photo or not, you put anything. I mean, LinkedIn profile or not. But LinkedIn profile is something what recruiters are now looking for, to understand what kind of social networking skills do you have, right? What content have you been producing, or what content have you been engaging with? Uh, how do you maintain your personality on a social media platform? So these all things are a little important, which are being looked into these days. Any further questions?
So what if we do not mention industrial visits in our resume, sir? Should we definitely mention our industrial visits in it?
Industrial visits. So yeah, I mean, if you have been to an industry, so see, like I said, it's all, what do you wanna be asked about? Okay, so if you have gone to a, maybe a industry that's in your city, right? Maybe steel plant. Let's just say you went to steel plant for an industrial visit, right? What have you observed over there, right? I mean, what thoughts did you have towards going for that industrial visit? What are some key things that you have learned out there, right? How big is the machinery? That's everywhere there, right? But how engaging was your experience with that industrial visit, right? Maybe if you went to the steel plant and you have just roamed around and came out, right? I don't think that would add any value to your resume, right? But instead, if you have engaged in a conversation with some worker over there, how do they manually do things, and you have put some thought about how do you automate these kind of things, right? How do you write programs? What is the maybe with the manager, what are some tools that they use, software tools that they use to measure daily temperatures at that industry, right? Or what are some predictive things that they're doing, or so if you have engaged in these kind of conversations or had some thoughts about these, and if you want to showcase that particular thing that you are enthusiastic enough, wherever you go you learn something out there, out from there, right? You can always put anything. That's what I've been telling, right? You can always put your voluntary works that you do, you can put the industrial visits that you do, right? But there's no point of putting it just to mention that yes, I've gone to an industrial visit, and once questioned on that, what did you learn out there, right? I mean, if you're not prepared with the answer, that's a negative point for you. If not, I think it's always positive. Does that answer your question, Ragni, right?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? So yeah, anybody wants to introduce themselves to me? In short, this is what I like, this is what I do. How are your online classes going? Anybody who or any questions also would are fine. Let's just have this meeting for like next 5 minutes, and we can have a wrap up at 6:20.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
In on-campus placements, like the recruiters have to gone through hundreds of resumes one by one. So I think they don't see the entire resume. So which part of the resume they get more interest, or they
Projects
got
and
more
achievements.
weightage? Sorry, sir.
Projects and achievements. So let's just say you are trying to recruit somebody. Okay, what part of the resume would you like to look at, right? So something which you have, which the candidate have implemented in past, right? Something which he learned, right? I mean, this, like I said, a lot of on-campus things are gonna be a lottery system where you just get the job and you start uh, in a role, right? Which you do not even know, and you learn there, right? A lot of things are like that. But yeah, when the recruiter is trying to recruit for a specific position, I think project descriptions and the achievements are something they are going to look at, right? And your bare minimum is your education qualifications. The If you are able to be a average performer at every stage of your life or not, right? And if not, also I think if you have a valid reason for that, it's always okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. This is Adarsh.
Yes, Adarsh.
So, like in most of the on-campus placements, the format of resume is fixed, sir. So, do we need to change that frequently, like matter in that, maybe like
Yes.
projects or certificates, or can we
Yes.
keep same it for all the companies?
So yeah, this is, I mean, this is a tricky question, I would say. It depends on a lot of factors. So for you to get on-campus placement is dependent a lot more on the faculty, the relationship between the college and the company. A lot of things come into play, right? So that's the reason why I'm not commenting a lot about the on-campus placements. It's good to be able to update your resume every now and then, but since the structure or the format of it is fixed, it's always good to maintain that format, right? And be able to update the content, right? Do some projects and keep updating it every now and then, so that every new company that you are attending a placement for is basically something new that you can showcase to them, right? But like I said, it's most of the on-campus placements happen in a way that you do not even know what the job description is. At least that's what my experience with the campus placements were. So I think you need not change, customize. Yes, it's always good to customize it as per the company and the role that you are offered for, but I think there's no harm the other ways as well.
Okay, sir.
Does that
And
answer? Yeah.
coming to the projects, like, is it a good way of practice to keep the GitHub link of a project, sir? Because, like, I think if you mention
Definitely.
it will be a somewhat bigger.
Definitely. So yeah, I've reviewed a few of 5 resumes that the coordinators have actually sent me. So I've reviewed a few, and I've actually made a note of some important feedback that I would like to share. Right. So yeah, make sure that the number of pages are not blank. Okay. If there are 2, make sure that you are at least filling the second page till the 3/4 one. Okay. Make sure that the alignment is not missing and there is a third page with one line that is getting popped up, right? So that is one important thing, okay, to be able to maintain the resume in the right format, okay, without too much of white spaces nor too much of matter, right? The balance between those two, that's first thing. The second is maybe, yes, it is always good to have your LinkedIn and GitHub links, and also make sure that there are worthy contents for them to look at, right? Then the project description, like I already said, it need can be in the description in one liner. What problem were you trying to solve through that tool or the software, the tech stack used in it, and the consumption of it in quantifiable way, right? And then use as less tables as possible. It actually is a little place consuming, I would say, to put a table. Instead, just maintain text format and bullet points. And yeah, that's some kind of feedback that I wanted to share. Anything else?
Okay, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Sorry, trainings.
Good evening, sir. I'm currently from second year, sir. What I actually feel is we are a bit backward from what we should be now, sir. So it is now due to this online mode, or we haven't guided properly. There may be reasons why we are like this, sir. But what should we do now to make our resume more important, sir? Like where should we concentrate more on, like projects or more on achievements, sir?
That's what's your name, by the way?
Cherishma, sir.
Sure. Yeah, that's a brilliant question, I would say. So for you to be able to think of guidance and lacking proper instructions is a very good thing, okay. In second year at least, okay, people do realize this fact in their final year. I'm sure pretty I've faced this for myself, that I've been lacking a lot of guidance, right? So what you can seek out for is maybe, if you do not even call it mentorship, it's okay, but try to seek out a friend who's more experienced than you, okay, who's been actually looking at things for a while now, okay. Maybe someone who's out of your college, okay. So your seniors, some seniors who have worked upon a lot of things, or dealt with a lot of people, are someone you can go to, or any relatives that are there who are currently working in some hot tech related things. You can reach out to them. Just try to put up some kind of a resume, and go for their feedback. Ask them, yes, do you feel that what should be my areas of interest, or what should be the improvements in this, right? So see, the online world has pushed at least the education system by a yard backwards, okay. I mean, the Indian education system has always been catching up with the foreign one. They implement their research and implement so much of stuff, and then we try to catch them up, right? For like next 10 years, right? So for suppose if you look at social media platforms or blockchain, right? This was all invented in like last 20 years, before 20 years, maybe 10 years in the foreign. But what we try to do is to catch up with those tech now in the coming years, right? So the perspective what needs to change in an overall level is to be able to think what can be interesting. Okay, I mean, uh, like I said, this is what I tell to my own brother who's actually in this meeting always. You need to be able to learn things at a very fast rate to be able to survive in the market, right? And what I also suggest is the classes that you attend are the bare minimum that you can do in your time of engineering. Okay, there are, I mean, if you and why I say bare minimum is you can try to explore a lot of things. Okay, 6 months, concentrate on a tech, learn it. If you like it, go ahead with it. If you don't, try another tech, right? I mean, you're not even packed enough that you're completely busy. Okay, just have a perspective that the classes that I'm attending are the bare minimum, and there is something beyond this I need to explore, right? Only then I feel you would be able to stumble on opportunities when you keep looking for them, right? So yeah, that's a very good question. I would like to speak for one more hour if given time, conversing on these kind of things, right? But yeah, does that answer your question? What was your question again? Uh, I think
Where
I
should
just.
I concentrate more on, sir? Like, as we are beginners, now we are learning on some specific domain, no, sir. It takes a lot of time for us to make projects, and on the now we are in learning path, no, sir. So
So
how
yeah,
should we make
so
our
yeah,
resume more
this is
interesting?
this is what I would suggest. Okay, start with a few small projects. Okay, which are already done. Okay, I mean, maybe if you already know some Git link or some kind of a Kaggle website has something, right? Try to implement the same for your own. Okay, not just copy pasting it, but try to implement the same for your own. Try to explore what kind of other things can be done with the same algorithm or with the same tool, right? And put these into your project. Start with small things. Try building up a small website, right? Which actually reflects your own thing, right? Maybe try building up a small Android application, which is your personal app. Okay, maybe a personal alarm of sorts, which is maybe a little more consumable, right? Which has a other features which are not in the current alarm systems, right? So yeah, there are a few bits and pieces to this that you can start working on, and maybe like you start doing these things one by one. I feel that at the end of the final year, when you look back, you would feel that yes, I've done enough. Maybe not great things, but you have done enough to at least be able to say that yes, I've utilized my engineering in a full-fledged way, right? So
Thank you,
projects
sir.
are something that you need to work on. Okay, maybe start with something which is already implemented. Try to learn these things, then think of some use cases which you can solve on your own. uh, I mean, like you see, there are a lot of unsolved cases, right? I mean, there is a lot of research that is happening, and we are back of our time, and there is a lot of scope for your own community to be able to use that tech. So, for suppose if you think about NLP and all, maybe you can build a customized application which can help your own community members, right? Maybe from a speech to text conversion, or things like this. I mean, this is not readily available for anybody. So think from that perspective and maybe try to build around the use cases. That would help.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? I think we are approaching the deadline and we have 2 more minutes. Cool, guys. That's been a great talk. Those are some wonderful questions that you guys have asked, and I'm sure. I mean, I always say this to a lot of people that ideas are easy, but the implementation of it is really hard. Okay, so people can have hundreds of ideas, people can have hundreds of thoughts, which are easy to have, but the implementation part of it, being able to have a discipline to be able to implement projects, I think that's what the key is, right? Having the awareness, having the network to be able to do is the second thing. Okay, so have that discipline of doing things. Okay, you're exploring new things, right? Thinking in a perspective which world requires now, right? So yeah, I mean, world requires now is a very big term, but just start thinking from a perspective where you can help your own community, maybe your class. I've actually stumbled upon a uh, I don't know, some kind of an application, Android application, which is something like StuMate or something, if that's the right name. That's a application built by your own college students for students be able to share PDFs and all. And I think yes, that's a good idea, and that solves a use case which students struggle at an everyday level, right? So think from that perspective, engage with your seniors, take some guidance, build your network, and yeah, finally, resume is one part of this whole thing. That's it. Cool, guys. That's from my end. Hope to talk to you soon. Anything else, guys? Any concluding talks from the coordinators? Any questions?
Sir, can we add our school certifications and projects in our resume, sir?
Yeah, definitely. You can. That's what I'm telling you. So you can add anything that you feel proud of. Okay. If
Okay.
if you feel that the recruiter would embarrass you looking at that, don't do it, because the chances are you're gonna get embarrassed whatever question he asks on that, right? So whatever you feel proud of that you have achieved in your life, it's worth being on your resume, be it anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool then. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for all your time on a Sunday evening.
Thank you very much, sir, for taking your time to speak to us on today. And I must say that this is such a wonderful interactive session. And thanks a lot for answering our questions with the patience, sir.
Yeah, that's a yes at any time. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or maybe just text me on WhatsApp. Take my number from people, right? But what makes me feel good is when you put your own efforts to that, to do something, and if you seek out for help beyond something which you cannot uh, work on, right? I would definitely try to take my time out and help you out. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Cool then. See you guys. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye, sir. Have a good
Thank you.